The University of Iowa is the first of the Big Ten universities to have a digital twin campus, and the Tippie College of Business is hoping to use this tool in classes starting next fall. The Iowa legislature recently passed a bill that restricts gender reassignment surgery and puberty blockers for minors. This is all a part of a statewide push for more parental control. That's right, I'm here in front of the Chauncey Swan parking ramp where currently it's filled with cars, but tomorrow it will be filled with vendors. This is where the annual Iowa City's Farmers Market takes place every year, and tomorrow it's starting up at 7:30 a.m. So far, the festival has been incredibly successful, with many of the shows even selling out or being near sold out. The playwrights have even expressed that they have gained great feedback and reactions to their works. So, like I said earlier, these plays are happening all week long, so if you get a chance, take a break from studying for finals and come see a show here at the theater building. People are filling up seats here in the IMU main lounge as they wait to see Matt Walsh speak. Meanwhile, other people are outside in the IMU and outside in Hubbard Park protesting. Protesters lined up alongside Walsh's lecture attendees, shouting chants and holding up signs. However, the evening did not start with these chants and yelling.
I actually think it's really beautiful. I love the fact that most of us are just kind of sitting around and chatting and not really talking about what's going on.
People within the LGBTQ+ community, along with allies, came to Hubbard Park to peacefully protest in support for the transgender community.
I just personally felt like a little guilty just kind of watching everything happen around me while I never engaged in it. I'm here and I'm actively supporting for it.
However, once attendees for the lecture started showing up, the chants began. Throughout the lecture, and as attendees began to exit the lecture, protesters began moving to Madison Street and blocking cars.
I think it's crazy. I think people should be able to come here, whether it's on the left or right, and speak. That's ridiculous that we gotta do this. That's not peaceful. I can't get out.
Protesters continued to chant in opposition to Walsh, along with messages of support for the transgender community. Band members even came out to play along and start some chants and songs.
The main takeaway, I think, is this is a celebration of love, and that you matter, and it'll be okay. Hopefully it'll get better, and we'll continue to voice our opinion, and they might try to shut us down, but they won't silence us. I really hope that all the members, the YF members, and other people in Matt Walsh realize that we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
UIHC has announced that they are planning on closing their inpatient program for eating disorder treatment. This program is currently the only inpatient care option in the state of Iowa. In a statement to the Daily Iowan, UIHC said that their reasoning is to redistribute resources for acute mental health needs. They also explained that current patients in the program will continue receiving care, but they will be no longer taking on new patients. There have been mixed emotions and reactions to this change.
I think it's a good idea to add with inpatient. I think replacing it, I don't know, feels weird.
Graphics and even a petition have been circling around social media calling to save the eating disorder program. This has been bringing attention to eating disorders and the changes UIHC are making. April Bannister is currently in the inpatient program and posted on Instagram sharing her reaction to the news and her experience in the program.
It's not a bad thing to make more mental health beds, of course, but the way to do that is not by taking away the only eating disorder beds in the state. A year and a half ago, if I hadn't had this program, I would have been dead 7 times over.
UIHC will continue to have other services for eating disorder care available. University of Iowa Student Wellness also has resources for students.
There's a lot of good guidance for anyone with an eating disorder or other mental health disorders for students here at the university, and those are free services, so we always say start here.
UIHC also said how it was a tough decision and it was not made lightly.
So I think there's still options. It's not going to be as convenient, for students because this patient program was right here, but having an eating disorder in general is not convenient.
After questioning the CEO of TikTok last week, lawmakers, including ones from Iowa, are hoping to ban the platform.
But I think under our Constitution, your right to privacy is pretty important, and I ought to be concerned about it for other people. and I am concerned about it.
Lawmakers are concerned about TikTok's effects on national security, youth mental health, and its connection to the Chinese Communist Party.
The national security front is where a lot of people in Congress, both Democrat and Republicans, have issues. And then they also have issues on what kind of content is fed to young people.
The U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee, which includes Representative Miller Meeks, met with the TikTok CEO to discuss these concerns. However, further action is debated.
I don't know that that's possible to get that legislation passed. If I could vote that way, I would vote that way.
Lawmakers from Iowa all agree the platform is a national security threat.
Because the number one responsibility of the federal government is to protect the national security of Americans.
The Iowa legislature began their 2023 session earlier this month, and new bills and laws are being proposed. One major piece of legislation this year is Governor Kim Reynolds' school voucher bill. I was in Des Moines last week, and I have more on what this means and why it has become such a controversial debate in the Iowa House and Senate.
Every parent should have a choice of where to send their child, and that should not be limited to families who can afford it.
Governor Kim Reynolds proposed the private school voucher legislation early last week, which sets aside over $7,000 for Iowa students to have a choice between attending public or private schools. However, there is heavy Democratic pushback against this bill.
The fundamental issue of school vouchers concerns me, right? Just even the idea of this concerns me. And let me be clear, it also concerns a majority of Iowans. A majority of Iowans don't want school vouchers.
Many Democrats are against it, saying that private school vouchers should not be where public tax dollars go, along with how it does not truly give parents the choice due to private schools having the ability to decline applications.
Remember that a public school has to take any kid who shows up at their door, and a private school doesn't have to do that. So it really isn't about choice. Parents don't have the choice that they're talking about.
The plan sets aside $7,598 in state funding for private school students' education expenses. But Democrats are also saying that this is another factor that is not truly giving everyone an equal chance.
So saying that we're going to give vouchers out to low-income families first, it sounds good, but how many families are actually going to be able to make a private school decision based on just getting that one handout if they don't have the additional funds available within their family unit?
Despite Democratic pushes to leave more funding in public education, both the House and Senate have strong Republican majorities, making the legislation likely to pass this year. From Des Moines, Ashley Weil, DITV.